Hello, friends, and welcome once again to this Sunday evening on my program called Viewpoint with Sajal. People, I just wanted to bring another quick video. I won't be taking much of your time because, there is an aspect that I missed in my previous video, and in fact, the one that I had posted day before yesterday. There is a demand. There is a demand that has been put across by the Ukrainian president to declare the entire Ukraine as a no-fly zone. Now, we really need to understand what this amounts to, or what does this mean. I mean, declaring any zone. I mean, forget about. Let's keep Ukraine and Russia conflict on one side, but declaring a no-fly zone of an airspace means a lot. Internationally, there are treaties which are being signed, and wherein no country or no civil aircraft or military aircraft or any kind of air activity can happen where the no-fly zone has been declared and announced. This is the thumb rule. This is one thing. Now, what happens? Imagine in New Delhi, where I live, the president's house, the Rashtrapati Bhavan, prime minister's house, and there are other key strategic installations which are declared permanently as no-fly zones. Now what happens? Tomorrow, our dear friend Pakistan, they, from there on any of the, airstrips within that terrorist country, they, a few aircraft, they just, get airborne and, violate our airspace, and they enter into the no-fly zone area. So now what will happen? It is a clear, in the international norms, it is a clear-cut excursion amounting to war. So this is another aspect. So now what happens is, now the Indian Air Force, Indian Army, or the defense forces, they reserve every right to shoot them down. I'm giving you just an example to make you understand what does this mean. Otherwise, once they take off and they even come closer, even 10, 20 kilometers closer to our airspace, they will be shot down. This is how the international border arrangement works. Now, what is happening is that Zelensky is being demanding from NATO to declare the entire Ukraine as a no-fly zone, which means that none of the aircrafts from Russia can fly into Ukraine and bomb the cities, whatever they're doing right now. So very rightly, President Putin, he has Putin. I don't know. I'm not a Russian, but then even I have highest of regards for President Putin. So the president has already commented that any such activity means a war being declared on Russia by NATO allies or by whosoever countries are involved in that. So that is what precisely means. Now, the key thing is, I'm now bringing the crux into it. Now, what happens is, say, for instance, you declare, even if NATO declares Ukraine as a whole, part of Ukraine, a city, a state, whatever, a specified area, or even the entire country as a no-fly zone. So which means that those countries who are declaring Ukraine as a no-fly zone would be responsible to maintain the sanctity of that particular status that they have granted. In other words, what does it mean? That if at all any Russian aircraft, be it military aircraft, the Air Force, the choppers, Russia is having a huge fleet. So whosoever is coming into Ukraine is violating the airspace. So no-fly zone is gone into garbage. Until, now wait, here's the catch. Until or unless the NATO countries or whichever country who is declaring that the Ukraine being the no-fly zone must have the capacity, the command to get it implemented. Which means, in other words, a direct war with Russia. So now you're coming. Now you have already, even if you declare that, you have invited Russia. God save you. All I can say is that. And after declaring the no-fly zone over Ukraine, and then the Russian choppers, the aircrafts, the fighter jets, whole logistics, military equipment, they are going all guns blazing. So then you have to shoot them down. You have to shoot them down. You have to contain them. So in order to contain them, there is a war. Now it's a war. In my previous two videos, I have already mentioned this so-called America. I mean, I'm anticipating. I'm not giving any judgment, but this is my perception. This is my understanding, you can say. After whatever is happening in Ukraine, the Dadagiri of United States is bound to get over. Trust you me. The next thing which is going to be targeted is Taiwan, and then what will America do? The day Russia opened the attack or on Ukraine, there were 8 or 9 fighter jets. They violated the airspace of Taiwan. So what did United States do? Did nothing. Absolutely nothing. People, I mean, it's something like, like in India we have, Umar na tere saath mein, jaake maar de. The person goes, hits, get a proper treatment, comes back with a bald eye or a blue eye, and then he says, "Where were you?" So he said, "You did not actually understood what I wanted to say." So the similar kind of a situation is happening, and this is what is the nature and habit of America. Please, whatever I'm talking or speaking, do not make this opinion, do not form an opinion that I'm anti-America. No, not at all. But then, these are the war games America plays in the world, in the entire world. I mean, be it Russia or be it, Yemen, anything. I mean, you can dig out the history. And one more thing, America never openly and on the international forums have claimed that they have won a war. They have never. What were they doing for 20 years in Afghanistan if they had to leave Afghanistan in a disarray? Handing it over to Taliban, leaving millions and millions of dollars in cash, leaving so much of arsenal, so much of whatnot. What were they doing? Was that a street walk in Vietnam? Was there a fancy, rosy kind of a dinner they were having in Yemen? What were they doing in Syria? They just only manipulate, manipulate, and manipulate. For us Indians, like I mentioned in my last to last video, people, we really need to understand there is nobody in the world who will come to your rescue, to our rescue. So first and foremost, we have to stand as one. Our diaspora has to be united with us. Then we have to start building war machinery inside India so that we are no longer dependent, even if I have to say on Russia, the dependence have to get over with. Otherwise, you would be blackmailed. Every time, every time. And for this, may I put a request? All those who feel CAA, NRC, hijab, all this nonsense is a very big issue, may please kindly embark to Islamic world. Allow us to build our country, India, as a strongest nation. Because we do not have time to look into all that nonsense, all that bullshit. And this goes for all the communists who are in India, along with China, and all those librandos. So people, I hope I have explained what is the significance if NATO declares and why NATO is not declaring Ukraine as a no-fly zone. And we have seen the statements coming from Zelensky, how frustrated he is. And which way? A comedian turned president, with no sense at all. If you make me the prime minister tomorrow, I'll be as good as, Zelensky. Trust you me. And that is the reason, if at all life gives me an opportunity, I would like to first slog my ass to learn, and learn. That's about it. So thanks everyone, people. I appreciate the way you people are giving me views, watching. And I'm getting the phone calls. Thank you. Keep showering your support, and I shall be back with another video very, very soon. Take care. Cheers.